Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from New York, Jim Johnson.
Have fun.
Thank you. How many here have a BHAG? From the looks, I think I have to delve further. A big, hairy, audacious goal. In other words, a really big dream. How many here have a big dream? Awesome, because it's my job today to inspire you to think bigger and to help you make your dreams come true. The year was 1984, and one of my big dreams came true. I became a varsity basketball coach in a local high school close to where I grew up, and I was excited. I thought I knew everything there was about coaching. I was going to lead this team from the outhouse to the penthouse in a short period of time. After 2 games, we're 1-1. I said, I've got this, we're okay. And then with my great coaching wizardry, I led that team to 17 consecutive losses. And then I didn't like what the administration had to say to me after the year, so I left that job. Of course, what they said to me is, you're fired. It was a very humbling, but also ended up being a blessing for me for a couple reasons. One, I learned the power of perseverance, one of the keys I talk about in my keynote, and that never give up mindset. And number 2, it was a blessing because I got hired by a local junior college coach that was a fantastic coach, and he helped me get back on my feet. But one of my other keys is passion, and my real passion was to coach at the high school level. And I became a varsity coach again at the high school level. But after 7 years, I didn't quite have it figured out. In fact, I was like 40 games under 500, which isn't so good. But then I got an epiphany. I said, you know what? If I'm going to be a better coach, I need to study leadership. And I started to delve into all types of books and pick people's brains. And one of the first books I read was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Has anybody ever read that book? Awesome read. In the book, Dr. Covey talks about beginning with the end in mind, one of his habits. And in that habit, he shares about each person having their own personal mission statement. And a great question to ask yourself is, why were you put on this earth? Because when I asked that question to myself, I had no clue. Here I was in my early 30s, floundering as a coach, and I started to think, and I started to write things down. And now I'm very clear on my personal mission. It's to be an outstanding role model that makes a positive difference in the world by helping others make their dreams come true. And when I was clear about my message, because I do another keynote on leadership, what I call the why, then things started to change. My team started to have more success, and we started to have winning records. But then I ran into another stumbling block. We kept losing in our coveted Section 5 tournament that I was so desperately wanted to win as a coach. And we kept losing. Then we finally got to the semifinals, and we lost there 4 times. And then I received another blessing in my life. A young man came out for our team. His name was Jason McElwain. He has autism. How many people know someone that has autism? Because interesting, it's become very prevalent in our country. 1 out of every 68 children now born in the United States is on the autism spectrum. But despite Jason being autistic and learning disabled, did not stop him from having really big dreams. And he had 2. He wanted to play in a varsity basketball game, and he wanted to help our team win our first Section 5 championship. Well, if you're not familiar with the story, I'm going to share a video with you to show what happened on that magical night.
What we all want in life is a shot. But what we do with it, that's the story we all want to tell.
You know, I've coached for 25 years, and I've never experienced that, the emotional high of what happened.
What happened for Jason McElwain, or JMac as his friends call him, is about more than a shot. Diagnosed with autism at 2 years old, now identified as highly functioning, he's never considered himself different or separate, especially when it comes to sports.
Sports has always been, how could I say, his equalizer. He's just like any of the other kids out there.
It's not really a big deal at all. I'm just normal like other people. That's the way I am.
At 5'6", J-Mac didn't make the junior varsity basketball team at his high school, Greece Athena, near Rochester, New York. Instead, he became team manager, a role he now has for the varsity as a senior. In the last 3 years, in his white shirt and black tie, he's missed only one game.
Going to practice, I set up the clock and get the water to games and be enthusiastic.
As this season was wrapping up, Coach Johnson approached Jason with an idea about the Trojans' final home game of the season.
I said, I'm really going to look to try to get you in the game, but remember, I can't promise you that. And he goes, okay, Coach.
February 15th, Greece Athena against Spencerport, C. With word out that Jason might play, the student section printed signs of J-Mac's face, just in case. And with 4:19 left in the game, with the Trojans up by 20, Coach called down to the end of the bench for number 52.
I just kind of turned and pointed at him, and he almost ran right on the court. He was so excited.
Hey Jay, you gotta check in. So he hits the buzzer, he doesn't go anywhere. It's like now you go on the court. He was so caught up in the moment.
He came into the game, they all stood up and they put the signs, the pictures of him up, and I got really emotional. And I sat down and started crying.
With 3:46 left, Jason got the ball.
When he missed that first three, I was like, oh, and then it airball, and I was like, man, I really just want to see him score one time.
I put my head in my hands and I, dear God, please, just get him a basket.
Then, with 3:12 left, another chance.
That third trip down the court, magic.
As soon as I started hitting my first shot, I just kept shooting, and I was just hot as a pistol.
Shot after shot after shot kept going in.
The basket was like this big, huge bucket, and I was shooting like they were free throws. This is a big, huge bucket that's like huge.
And I was like, oh my God, is this really happening? He has more than 1 point than me, so he's got bragging rights over me.
He was unstoppable for that moment in time. He was unstoppable.
He comes down the court right at the end with like 3 seconds left, and he hits this one that's, probably like an NBA three. As soon as the gun ended, they stormed the court. I couldn't, I just couldn't dream anything like that.
It felt like we won a championship. Yeah, everyone was just so happy for me.
In that 4 minutes 19 seconds, Jason was 7 for 13, 6 of 10 from three-point range, 20 points in all. In his first and only varsity basketball game, J-Mac was the high scorer.
Truly the most incredible moment I've ever had in coaching. I was so touched, and it was just so special to me that a young man, his dream came true. And I could help that, it was awesome.
What we all want in life is a shot. J-Mac took his, and now it's a story we can all tell.
Thank you. I've seen that over 1,000 times. I still get choked up. I did see a few tears. Jason taught me so much about the lesson of perseverance, that never give up mindset, the ability to keep setting your dreams and goals higher. And let me take you back quickly to that night. I coached as a head coach for 30 years, so I went through 30 senior nights. But that night profoundly touched me. To see Jason, instead of in his white shirt and black tie, now donning number 52 and embracing his parents in uniform is a memory I'll always cherish. The game begins. We had a great student body following. And interesting enough, as the opening tap, I started hearing from the student body, "We want J-Mac. We want J-Mac." I guess just in case I forgot. Well, with just over 4 minutes to go, I decided the time was right. I pointed to J-Mac. He nearly ran right on the court. He was so excited. Now, normally I'm a pretty macho guy. I'm not going to cry at a basketball game, right? Wrong. What happened was our student body had all these placards that one of our parents had made. Jason and I did not know about this. When Jason entered the game, they all stood up and they showed those placards. I sat down, which I normally don't do, and tears are rolling down my face. I am so emotionally touched. It was unbelievable. The game now begins. Jason's in the game. He receives the ball in the right corner behind the three-point arc. He lets his first shot of his varsity career go. The crowd stands in anticipation. He misses by like 10 feet. Now, I know you're not supposed to pray in the public schools. But I am praying, dear God, please help him get a basket. Next possession, which you didn't see on the video, he has a much shorter shot. Now, I got to add a little drama because it might be a movie someday. He shoots it, it hits the backboard, it hits the rim, and it falls off. The crowd groans. I'm thinking, we're getting closer. Third possession, Jason receives the ball behind the three-point line again. This time he shoots it, and it goes in. The place explodes. It's pure bedlam. And I'm thinking to myself, God must be a basketball fan. Not only has Jason scored, he's got a three-pointer. It can't get any better than this, right? Wrong. For the next 3 minutes, Jason turns into his boyhood idol, Kobe Bryant. And he starts making shot after shot. And the place is going crazier and crazier. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what's happening. And I'm going to need a little audience participation because this is how the game ends. Our opponent scores with about 6 seconds to go. Our player takes it out, but instead of throwing our point guard this time, he throws it right to J-Mac. So I'm going to demonstrate J-Mac dribbling down the court. If you can help me count down from 5. All right, ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I'm thinking, oh, he's just going to go in and make a layup. Well, great way to finish the game. Oh, no. He pulls up for like 3 feet behind the three-point arc. I said, Jason, don't shoot from there. It's too far. He lets go this rainbow. Swish. I look over. Our student body runs on the floor. Our players run on the floor. All 5'2" of J-Mac's mother runs on the floor. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm living the movie Rudy. This is incredible. But this is really true. It was unbelievable. And the other thing I'll never forget is I had no idea how many points Jason had scored, and our players put him up on their shoulders. And our public address announcer comes out and says, the leading scorer for the Trojans, J-Mac with 20 points. With my math brain, I think if he'd have played the whole game, he'd have scored 160. After that, 3 weeks later, Jason and I, one of our other big dreams came true. We won our first Section 5 championship. After that, Jason graduated from high school, and after being away from our program for 2 years, he decided that he'd like to come back, and I invited him back as a volunteer assistant. For the last 9 seasons I coached, I just retired, he helped me. We won 5 more Section 5 championships. So, thank you. By the way, for a small fee, I will rent them out to you. Well, before I close, I want to leave you with one more final thrust. And that is, before I say this, I have my book, A Coach in a Miracle, and I have a number of copies. I'd love to meet you and be able to inspire you at your organization. So please come and get a copy. I do have a few signed by Jason, so it's first come, first serve for those, but I'd love to meet you. And I'm going to leave you with this final message. After that Section 5 championship game, I was mobbed by the media. And one of the first questions they asked me was, Coach, this is your first sectional championship. How does it compare to the J-Mac night? I thought for a moment, I said, I am so proud of my team for winning our first Section 5 championship. But nothing has ever profoundly touched my heart and soul like the J-Mac game. So I want to leave you with this challenge. As you continue to pursue your own dreams, remember the best way to make your dreams come true is to help others make their dreams come true. Thank you, and God bless.